Hey everyone! The shortest transfer saga of the summer is over. Federico Chiesa is a Red. He is Arne Slot's first proper signing of the summer. Obviously not counting Jordi Mamardashvili, who has gone back to Valencia on loan. I'm Paul Machin. Chris Pajak is with me. It has just been made official. Chiesa is a Red. Chris Pajak.
Absolutely. Obviously, you've got to go through some of the contract details and stuff like that. It looks like it's a 4-year deal for him so far. 10 million rising to 12.5 million with add-ons. So that looks pretty good, doesn't it? And I think, I played golf on Tuesday and basically missed everything. I've been here all summer long, waiting quietly for something to happen, but no, nothing happens. I have one game of golf in a weekday and everything goes mental.
Yeah.
Mamardashvili is signed and confirmed. We're after Federico Chiesa. It's just, I missed it all, and I am absolutely fuming. Someone asked me, what's it like? I was like, mate, I would love to be in work today because I get to actually talk about Liverpool signing someone. So I'm glad I'm here for this, essentially, and I'm really excited about it. I've not been able to talk about it at all yet, Paul, but I saw your video the other night and the link to sort of Shaqiri and stuff, and I thought that was really astute because that's essentially the role that he's filling in the squad for. Is it less than what we paid for him?
Probably,
Did we pay 11 for Shaqiri up front? I can't remember now. It was a while ago, but it's just brilliant, isn't it? Because in potential, we've got a world-class footballer, and if not, then we've not spunk that much money.
Well, it's a great thing, and people I'll forgive me for constantly referencing Ian Graham's book, but it has been the most transformative thing I've read in recent times with regards to football. But it's when they talk about when they've got like a weighting system to when they're trying to analyse how good players are and whether they work in the Premier League, and the line is like above an average Premier League player. Basically, that's like if they can prove in the data that they're at least a good quality Premier League player, then that's like their starting point, and then you can build on from that. And that's effectively what they're saying is that worst case scenario, they think he's good enough to come in and do a job here and now, but there's a chance, and the thing that they'll be working on, because he's only 26. Everyone's been making him 27. I know he's not long away from being 27, but he is still 26, which means a 4-year deal will take him to 30, which is actually not that bad when you consider it.
But what about the resale value? We've not really spent anything, have we?
Oh, well, exactly. Honestly, it would take a lot for him not to be able to touch that as a resale value in the future. If you can get him, if he only is as good as he is today, then you've got a good player. If you can get anything more out of him, you've potentially got a fantastic footballer for the same money that we got for selling Bobby Clark to Salzburg.
Yeah, it's an absolute no-brainer. Listen, I'd rather us sign a 23-year-old, £100 million player, but it doesn't look like Liverpool are going to do that. So I'm going to be happy with what they've served on the table and eat it regardless, because that's what it comes down to, isn't it? That's what the business that they've done. And we've seen in years gone by before the big injury and stuff how good a player he can be. Let's hope we can see that again. He was still massively involved in Juventus' season last season. Obviously, it was 10 goals and 3 assists that he managed to get last season in Serie A and stuff. So this is a player who we've all admired. Liverpool have admired, most importantly, for a long time. And it's a massive signing for Liverpool in terms of who he is. He's genuinely world-class in potential, and that's only, it's not potential really, it's just without the injuries. Mm-hmm. And he's had far too many injuries, we know that, but Liverpool know that as well, and they'll be smart with it. If it now means that Arne Slot, not Jurgen Klopp, if Arne Slot can just 2-0 go, right, Salah, come off, right, Jota, come off, right, Diaz, come off, we'll bring in Gakpo, we'll bring in Nunes, and we'll bring in Chiesa. That's a starting front three for some teams.
Yes.
Genuinely.
And you mentioned it there, but I thought Josh was really good on this in the deep dive this week. The injury thing is overstated. It's like everyone's come to this understanding.
But we're scarred.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah, and so
we're scarred.
And ultimately so's his knee, whereas his ACL was obviously repaired.
But that's why I need 15 centre-backs this season because of a few years ago.
But to the point on it, because it's correct to say he had an ACL injury, but to say he's had loads of injuries is incorrect. He's had an average number of injuries for how a footballer sort of has it. He's just had this one big one, and the timing of it, because it's the back end of one season and takes him into the first half of the next one, it writes 2 years of his career basically off, because he's the first half of that season, I think it's 21-22, he's not injured. Yeah, I mean, he does have to be fair, he has a small spell out with a hamstring injury before that. But the point is that after that, he's then got a year of trying to get back up to speed, which is last year. So you're right, Liverpool have got the data on this. They're not just flying into this wildly. And ultimately, he's just done a medical. And having gone through, particularly because Edwards is now back involved with the football club and Julian Ward's back involved with the football club, they were there when we didn't sign for Kia. And by and large, the reason we didn't sign for Kia is they did the medical and went, oh God.
Yeah,
nope.
It's a good point. The counterpoint, of course, playing devil's advocate, is they were also there when we signed Canate, Thiago, and Keita.
Yeah,
and they all passed medicals.
Yeah, but none of them were. Yeah, but none of them were injured when we signed them. Yeah.
Well, he's not injured, is he? That's the point.
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah, but the point is that the issue with this guy is that he's got a long-standing thing that they're obviously looking at, and to the point on the case, you never know is the honest answer, because anyone can get injured. Thiago was the biggest risk of all that, by the way, just because of how old he was. Like he was a real breaking with tradition, getting a player with lots of miles on the clock kind of thing. But the Keita stuff is one of them. Is like he's held up as this, like, we signed an injury prone player. We signed a player who became injury prone once we'd signed them, and yeah, there's nothing you can do about that. Anyone can get an injury. What they'll
have been looking at in the medical is the reconstruction of the ACL. I think is probably what they'd have looked at most importantly, because of the Fekir stuff, and they know what they were looking for in similar injuries and all that type of stuff. So that's important for them. As far as the other things are concerned, you can go on and get injuries. They don't know that. A medical ain't going to turn that up.
Yeah.
But what they will have done is the due diligence on the big injury of his career, and they've obviously deemed it either that it's absolutely fine, or it's a risk they're willing to take because of the low amount of money that Liverpool are spending.
For your sixth choice forward, that's the long and short of it, is that you could get someone. If you wanted to spend that, and you could spend more, by the way, so this is a bit of a side point. If you wanted to get someone to be your sixth choice forward, you're not getting anyone that good. And you're certainly not getting anyone that good for that amount of money. And so there is a bit of a thing where, again, marketing efficiencies. A lot of people ask everyone. I was talking to Paul Gorst on Journal Insight. He said, and this is a journalist, professional journalist, said exactly the same thing that I said when I heard it. I went, and you said it as well. Oh, he's had loads of injuries, got loads of injury problems. And it's like, because everyone just went, Chiesa, injury problems, and never really bothered to think more beyond it. Whereas, again, Liverpool have looked beyond that. And so many people in the game, sounds mad to say because we're just people on the outside of the game, but loads of people inside the game think that as well. They get a general notion of a player and it writes them off in their mind. So there'll be loads of football clubs, big football clubs as well, who will not have even given him a glance because someone in their scouting department knows he had an ACL and went ACL equals bad. Liverpool's captain literally had his knee rebuilt after an ACL and has played just as many minutes as he did before he had it. Joe Gomez is another one, completely available for all last season. I think he's had 2 cruciate injuries in his career. We've had Liverpool are almost a great test bed for this because they know what it looks like. They actually know what a successfully healed ACL or treated ACL will look like as well. So yeah, it is a gamble, but
it's a gamble worth taking. Yeah, of course it is, and that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, listen, I don't think anybody's wrong to talk about the injuries because you can see the accumulation of injuries post the ACL as well. It was 14, was it, or something after his ACL injury for various different things, maybe linked to it, maybe not linked to it. Of course, people are going to talk about it. If Manchester United were signing him, I'd be going, oh, Juventus have given up on him. He's not even in the squad. Thiago Motta doesn't want to have anything to do with him. Why is that when he was such a big player last season? Also, this accumulation of injuries. So I think it's totally fair to take the same viewpoint when Liverpool sign a player.
Yeah. But the Man United point's hilarious because if Man United were going in for him, you're right, you would be going, what? That's just stupid. That's a stupid decision. That's because Man United are fucking rubbish at transfers. Liverpool are brilliant at transfers and have levels beyond, like someone going, kicking the tyres and going, oh, he looks like a good solid lad to me. Let's have a bit of him, or just filtering by interested, filtered by most expensive and going from there. Liverpool are doing this because Liverpool are famed for being smarter. Now, of course, everyone will throw up the times when they weren't smart, but it's everyone gets transfers wrong. I mean, it's known. Paul Tompkins has been banging this drum for 15 years that 50% of transfers fail. In fact,
and that's what Liverpool didn't do. Is they made it much higher percentage, which puts them in a much better position. And hopefully, that's the thing that we're doing with Chiesa. Ultimately, what we've got is an incredibly talented footballer, one who could break into the first team, and that for 10 million quid is unbelievable business, because there ain't many £10 million players that can break into Liverpool's first team.
Yeah. I would be more asked about all the things that we've talked about if we were crying out for this position. Crying out.
Well, I was edging towards this on the podcast on Monday. I was edging towards I'd rather have a backup for Salah, because that kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
It was the only hole in our squad.
Yeah.
And people can say, well, we didn't sign Zubimendi. Is right, by the way. They clearly want to upgrade the midfield, but we don't lack for footballers who play in those positions. We just feel that we can get someone who are a bit better suited to what the manager does. There is literally a hole in behind Mohamed Salah, because it's Ben Doak and it was Harvey Elliott at the weekend. And if Harvey Elliott is actually the in rotation with Szoboszlai at the 10, then there'll come a time when he's one player. And that was our biggest critique, going back to Dan Kennett's depth charts all those years ago, of how many times Milner or Henderson would appear on the depth chart. Like it doesn't count. Like they've never seen a Man City depth chart before, by the way, which is just fucking Phil Foden absolutely everywhere. Or Bernardo Silva. That was the only one. Liverpool now own 2 senior footballers for every position in slots, what seems to be his preferred formation. There's definitely work to be done moving forward. But if you're going to go and attack a season, that is the biggest, most obvious red flags. There's still, is Endo suitable? I think that's a reasonable one. Mm-hmm. And there's a question mark over Tsimikas and Joe Gomez. But beyond that, it's as good a looking squad as I think we're likely to have.
Just the name's enough.
Yeah.
Just the name, the fact that it is Federico Chiesa, a player who was absolutely sensational for Italy, a player who we've all watched grow up and stuff like that, and just absolutely rinse fullbacks time and time again from the right-hand side for Italy, from the left-hand side for Juve and stuff. This is just brilliant. This is exactly what you want in a signing, isn't it? And the fact that it's come out of absolutely nowhere as well, and been wrapped up in a few days. The fact that we've beaten the Premier League registration deadline for the game against Manchester United, which was 12 o'clock tomorrow, by the way, which means that he can be in the squad if we choose against Manchester United. I mean, coming off the bench, scoring a late winner in your first game for Liverpool, really standing there with your arms wide open. I mean, his story writes itself, doesn't it? Chiesa's going to score the winner on Sunday. I'm not having anything less.
I mean, he's literally not kicked the ball since last season
in
a game of football, so he will
Won't
not
need to. It's Manchester United we're playing at the weekend, Paul. Remember that.
People hyped up. There is zero chance he gets on the pitch at the weekend. But again, that would speak to Liverpool's depth of quality. Imagine going to Old Trafford and Chiesa's owned by Liverpool and isn't even in the matchday squad, which is very, very, a very likely possibility. He will wear the number 14 shirt, which is a little interesting point. Vacated since the absence of Jordan Henderson. So if anyone wants to go and dive on that one, you can do. Fill your boots. I'm pleased. I'm just genuinely pleased with it. And the more, it's one of those signings where I immediately went, it came out from Fabrizio on Monday, was it? And I was like, that's bollocks. It's total bollocks. He's got all the hallmarks of the kind of people who want to generate some sort of transfer rumour mill to get some clicks and engagement. Perfect. He's available. He's got 1 year left on his contract. Everyone knows he's available. Barcelona have been sniffing around him. He's going to move. The club don't want him anymore. So yeah, why not? Why not link him with Liverpool? And it felt, I was concerned that it was very much his agent trying to see if they could force Barcelona to pull the finger out a little bit. And if it was that, it's not happened. And Liverpool have obviously had all the right sort of like response in all of this. I really like the quote from him that basically says Richard Hughes got in touch with me, and I was like, yeah.
Who are you?
Yeah. Yeah, who? From Liverpool Football Club. Oh, right, sound okay, yeah, no problem, mate. But there's, let's see if I can bring up the quote, actually. He says, I'm so happy to be a Liverpool player. When Richard Hughes called me and he said, do you want to join Liverpool? I said yes immediately, because I know the history of this club. Can't wait. Yeah, good PR for old Old Ricky Hughes there.
I think he needed it. I think he's done incredibly well on the players that we've shifted on and look to be shifting on over the next day or so as well. But I think you need a sign that you can hang your hat on, and hopefully this will be it. This will be the start of something, not the end of it. Like, listen, I've talked all summer long about how Chelsea fans are just addicted to transfers. And this ain't enough for me. I still want another one by tomorrow. Maybe 2, please, Liverpool Football Club. That would be fantastic. But this, as you said before, mate, it does fill a hole in the squad. It's a big name player. Liverpool already showed on the pitch that they've meant business over the last couple of weeks and stuff, and now they're showing in the transfer market that they do as well.
Yeah, definitely. You look at what we've got available to us this season, and it does just feel like there's a from last season was a great proving ground for a number of footballers. More young players got a chance than they ever would have done in any other. That was because of the Europa League and just because of the mad injury crisis that hit us in the back end of the season. So we've got a load of lads up and running, but there's a big gulf between playing Europa League once on a Thursday and then playing a game in the Premier League to playing Champions League, and even more Champions League games than ever as well. And they've clearly decided we just want more. And this is the thing that gets forgotten. I'm not sure we make this signing under Klopp for 2 reasons. I don't know if Klopp's football would be the safest thing to throw Chiesa into, having gone through what he's gone through and then coming into the Premier League from Serie A. So he might just not have profiled for a Klopp team. But if Liverpool are going to rotate the wingers loads more, the perfect time for Salah as well, there's that. But then ultimately, because it's his first season, he can't afford to slip. He can't afford to get this wildly wrong. So they're trusted. People saying, where are all the players to fit Slot's style? I think Liverpool own loads already because it's really talented footballers who are good on the ball. But where we can see it is, they're not saying, make something out of Vandenberg, make something out of Carvalho, because we own them, make something out of them. They've gone, you know what, no, it's all right. We'll take them. We'll go and get some money for them, and we'll to buy a 26-year-old into an already pretty stocked attack. Feels like we are trusting in as many senior footballers this year as possible. It's not going, well, good luck playing Man City on Saturday, and then you've got Real Madrid on the following week, and you're playing Ben Doak on right wing because Salah's absolutely running to the ground. This feels canny to me. It feels like the building.
No, it does, and that's it, isn't it? I think it might put him in a better situation as well, Chiesa, obviously, because you're not relying on him to play 40 games a season, are you? You might be relying on him for half an hour every game. And then those sort of a Champions League game here and there, a cup game or whatever, and that'll probably put his body in a better position to succeed if there is problems, and that is an if, of course. So yeah, it's obviously something he wanted, it's something the club wanted, clearly something Arne Slot wanted, and an opportunistic signing if ever there was one from Liverpool Football Club.
100%, and that's the big thing, opportunistic or panic. And I think from the outside, and given all of our scars from the amount of signings in this part of the window, you could say panic signing, but we bought Gravenberch late in the window, we bought Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain late in the window, and it can happen. It is an interesting one to see how long it's going to take him to get fit, because he hasn't featured in Juventus's pre-season games, or certainly the last 3. I know that for a fact. He's therefore not featured in the season for them so far. We don't know what his training level's at. But the good thing is you got this weekend, and you've got an international break. I don't know whether he's going away with Italy. That'll be interesting to find out. But if he is, it won't do him any harm, because he'll be training, and he might even be playing games. So he's a little bit sharper when he comes back. And we'll just have to see. But the good thing is he's such a free hit. Because we've got loads of lads fit at the moment. Loads of lads who will want minutes, who will want to get involved, and Salah in particular. Salah's not going to be looking at United the weekend going, take me off after 70 so you can rest me legs. No, he's going to play he'll play every minute because it's a big game. And he'll want to, so yeah, it's very, very win-win for me. Let's get through some super chats from the assembled here. Craig Tebbs says everyone's got it wrong. We didn't want a number 6. We wanted 6 attackers. Do you both think we're finished now in the market? Class content, lads. Thank you so much. And Matt Schob also with a similar sort of question. Hey guys, love the channel. Do you think we will get another signing? What do you think?
I think there's one more at least. at least. Honestly, I do. I put a tweet out, I can't remember if it was last week or earlier on this week or whatever, maybe it was the weekend, where I thought Liverpool might do 1, 2 or 3. This is one for me. I'm not counting Mamadashvili. Okay. So I'm thinking maybe one more. Yeah,
I mean, the issue is, for me on that, I know we've been very good at keeping our cards close to our chest, but we have heard stuff has come out around every player we've been after. So Lenny Yoro wasn't exactly like fucking huge sort of fan favorite, but everyone knew Liverpool were in for him. Everyone knew Zubimendi. It came out in the sort of like a little bubble around it. It wasn't a long tail behind it or whatever. There's not many footballers, I think, out there that unless it's someone we've previously been linked to, and I mentioned, and I did part of the deep dive was on Lucherel Geertruida. I wonder whether, for me, I think it's if Gomez moves, but I do think that there's a short window now. I mean, literally, but it's even smaller, because it doesn't matter that the window shuts at midnight on Friday or whatever. It's the fact that you've got a lot of things to do, and if you're just almost cold to this, you don't go, right, Gomez, see you later, right, everyone get the kettle on, let's have a sit down and have a look at our targets. You need to have somebody literally sat on the tarmac at an airport waiting to come in and fill Gomez's slot for me if that happens. I don't know. I remain calm because I don't see any
point. Let's phrase it this way, and we can phrase it this way to everyone who's watching as well. If you had 500 quid in your bank account and that was it, would you be putting a £500 bet on 0, 1 or 2 signings? I imagine most people would put that £500 bet on 0 because it's probably the safest. It's the safest bet, if nothing else. The
safest bet would be not to bet a penny on that one, I think, which is effectively 0, isn't it? And then be pleasantly surprised if we pull something out. But it does feel like I think you're going to see a bit of a land grab in the next sort of 12 hours of people desperately trying to spark a little bit of last news because they've seen how big this Chiesa stuff's gone, and can they just glom onto, get one last hurrah in engagement out of the transfer market. And we've just seen Andre Trindade's just moved to Wolves for 20 million, and that's, again, you move on from players, your requirement for footballers changes when a new manager comes in, but it's mad that we could have, if we wanted someone like him, it was 20 million. We could have gone and picked him up. They've clearly done all the scouting on him. He was clearly, definitely on Liverpool's radar a year ago. So whether we have to believe that the DM thing is totally shut down. But as you said, on Sunday, we finished the podcast on Monday afternoon going, it's probably no one. We're going to sign the goalie and that'll probably be it. And then here we are sat here having done a week's worth of content on Chiesa. So stranger.
Here's a question for you then before we wrap it up and stuff. Do you think, obviously, was it last week we finalised the deal for Carvalho to Brentford? Was it the week before?
I don't know. The week before, I think.
He obviously played, didn't he? He came off the bench against us. Do you think that was Liverpool had any intentions of going for Chiesa when they'd sold him? Because you're getting rid of a sixth attacker and it's near 2 weeks before you sign your replacement. It feels like they will have been it feels like they will have been thinking that they had to get something done, otherwise they wouldn't have let Carvalho go.
Maybe, or you just don't know, do you? Again, it's opportunistic thing, is that sometimes the planets align and something that you weren't looking at just drops into your eye line and you're like, huh. Because by all accounts, all I've had in YouTube comments for all this week is, now he's going to Barcelona. Chiesa's going to Barcelona. Barcelona wants Barcelona. This is not going to happen because Barcelona have had him sewn up. But we've just seen it took them 2 games of the season before they could register Dani Olmo, and it might have just reached that point now where Barcelona are done, and there's no more things to be shifted and no more levers to be pulled, and they've gone, we'll get by with what we've got. Chiesa's available for 10 million. Go ahead. So that's what I mean. He will have been on the radar the whole time, but I guess the question is, have we known about this, and have we been waiting in the wings and literally just watching his price plummet as it got closer to the deadline, and then gone, yep, that'll do for us. I mean, terrifies the life out of me, of the idea that if they felt they they definitely needed 6.
They gave themselves enough time to do a thorough medical. That's a good thing. Otherwise, they'd have waited until the last day and rushed one through, which is not something that we wanted to see.
Yeah, got him for 5, but no idea whether he's fit or not.
Exactly.
That was the old Champman 3 trick where Luis Enrique was out for, I think it was like a year or 18 months with an ACL. If you sacked your physios,
you could sign him
because he couldn't do a medical, so you could get him in on.
I remember it well.
We have a few more super chats. Sarab Patil says, so this is how it feels. This is how it feels. It's been a long time. Let's go and get one more now. Cool.
There is just nothing more exciting than signing good footballers, is there?
Genuinely love it. I said it before, when people go like, well, you don't want Liverpool to sign players. We always want Liverpool to sign players. I'm just understanding of the mentality that goes into how and why they sign footballers. I like when we get lots and lots of videos with lots and lots of views on YouTube as well. That makes me really happy. This is from Twain McQueen. Says, I'm so glad Chiesa is a Red. Oh, yeah. And Ali El Arabi says, have wanted him for 3 years. So happy with this. Our squad is in a good place, especially if Heze comes in as rumoured. I don't know who that is. So I've definitely not heard that rumour unless that's a nickname for someone. But yeah. We'll see. If anything happens, we'll be here for it. Unless it's tomorrow, in which case me and Chris are both.
No, I'm here. I'm here tomorrow, mate. I'm doing the shows all day tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it, actually. Hopefully we'll do breaking news as and when things happen. You won't see me if we don't do any business. I am doing the Uncensored Match build-up show, I think, as well. I think that's 2:00, something like that. But yeah, I can't wait. And I'm really excited for the weekend's game as well, because massive game at the weekend.
It is indeed, yeah. We've got plenty to cover for you to cover if you want to know more about Chiesa as well. Dan Clubb, who is technically on paternity leave, I just want to make it clear, just for purposes of all these things, we have not asked him to do any work. Everyone wants him to enjoy his wife and new baby, but he just can't help himself. So yeah,
he's addicted.
He has been speaking to everyone and anyone to gain more insight into Liverpool's new signing.
He's incredible.
I've spoken to Paul Gorst on Journo Insight today. We did a deep dive with Josh Williams, which is on the YouTube channel, and one on Georgie Mamadashvili, which is on Redmen Plus, and we had the Bias Transfer podcast as well. Tons of content to keep you entertained for free on podcast, on YouTube, and if you want to go in more depth and detail, head to redmenplus.com. Fill your boots. I've got a code run at the moment. Use the code MAYCH, MAYCH, you get 3 months for the price of 1. So fill your boots, and yeah, who knows, you might even be around tomorrow when Liverpool sign the 2 more players that Chris Pajak expects to come in through the door.
1 more player I expect, hoping for 2.
So thank you so much. Welcome Federico Chiesa to Liverpool. We can't wait to see you, mate.